Yeah, no formal introduction segue for this one. Brawl is Put Your Hand Down, my favorite game in terms of the extra content besides the fighting modes. Classic mode is still the same as Melee, however, the trophy net and race to the finish is gone. Rig the targets is still there, however, the level design is determined by what difficulty you select and not whichever character you're using. You still fight Master and Crazy Hand at the end, and I think there's a medal battle before that, but that's not what we're here for. Oh, trust me, it is not. Yeah, remember adventure mode? Yeah, it got a whole lot better in this game. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you all the Subspace Emissary. Essentially, this is the story mode where all your favorite Nintendo characters, along with Snake and Sonic, must survive and stop the invasion of subspace. This location that's not in the Smash Bros. Universe, nor is it explained, but honestly, who cares? We got animated cutscenes up the wazoo, and they look beautiful. So beautiful that the intro for Brawl actually uses a lot of clips from it. Now, it's not really the best story ever written. I put written lightly because none of the characters talk to each other. They do a few grunts and stuff, but the interactions are fine indeed. Also, like little details like Lucas gaining the courage to fight Wario after kidnapping Ness, Captain Falcon being the show-off that he is, and your basic Bowser kidnaps the princess and whatnot. There are tons of bosses in this mode, ranging from just hitting them a bunch of times. Yeah, to be honest, that's literally all fighting game bosses, but hey, the bosses really complement the series they came from, along with some of the original bosses. Now, the original enemies, well, not so much. To put simply, a lot of them look odd, and you're essentially fighting them for a majority of the game. Along with your basic platforming, fighting like you're playing the normal mode, some puzzle elements occasionally, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but the Great Maze can kiss my great ass. God, I wish I had extra time. I really want to discuss more about this mode. The Vault Room, baby! God damn, I love this thing. All-Star mode is the same as Melee. You basically fight all the Smash casts in one stock. Home Run Contest is just like Melee. Multi-Man Brawl is essentially Multi-Man Melee. Events, which allows you to play multiple different scenarios with very different stipulations. This was also in Melee, but I forgot to mention it. And trophies are back with a vengeance, because in Subspace Emissary, you can actually capture the enemies with this disc thing and then add them to your collection. You can also collect them by just finding them randomly in the stages of subspace, or earn them and many other things through challenges, which is essentially just another way to 100% the game. And there are also stickers, or as I like to call them, JPEGs, because, well, yeah, they could give you stat boosts, but let's be honest, do you really use them for that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's finally talk about that vault. First up, the Trophy Hoard, which allows you to view your trophies and stickers, and you can also display your trophies in these separate rooms and take pictures with them. The Coin Launcher, which allows you to shoot down trophies and collect them, along with just being a very, very addictive minigame. Seriously, I spent hours on this as a kid. I saved the best for last. Stage Builder. It is what it is. You can create your own stages in Smash Bros. Yeah, sure, you're limited by a grid and you're limited to whatever theme you choose. In terms of music, you can choose whichever song you want in the soundtrack, but really, it's just the best thing ever. The fact that you can build your own stage is just amazing, and I love it when games do this. To make a long story short, Brawl, when you take away all the fighting modes, is essentially a toy chest of extra things to do and activities you'll never get bored at. It essentially takes all the things from Melee's extra modes, but expands upon them while adding its own flair to it. The Subspace Emissary can get a little repetitive, but it's still a great mold that introduces you to all these fantastic characters and what they're all about. Brawl may be the Smash game labeled for casuals, but I'm glad it has the extra content in order to satisfy that itch to do more than just, well, Brawl.
333rd tries a charm, haha. Oh my goodness, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is definitely by far the worst game in the Smash series, competitively speaking. I mean, just think about it. Everything from chain grabs to random tripping to the unbalanced roster to Meta Knight to Nintendo being Nintendo. Hashtag free Brawl, hashtag remember MLG. Boy, did this game really have to go through its fair share of trouble during its life as a Smash game, huh? Now, Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of things in this game to be explored in a competitive environment, but at the same time, there were a lot of things that didn't carry over from Melee that made this engine wildly different and thusly wildly disliked. Let me go down the list and name some of the major reasons why this game is heavily disliked. Mechanics. Now, when I say this, I mean in general, the way that they changed this engine made it drastically different from how it was before. Without getting too specific, basically the engine did a complete 180. Instead of a very unforgivingly fast-paced, relentlessly hard engine, it became a very slow, very defensive engine. In Melee, it was pretty easy to die off of any one stray hit from a lot of characters, even some of the bad ones. But with Brawl on the other hand, it's not uncommon for a character to get to over 150% on any of their given stocks. It's not hard to kill in Brawl, but offensive play is not encouraged, so it kind of is, and this is mainly due to the slower engine. In Brawl, they really slowed the engine down a significant amount. They did this by overhauling the engine completely. Most of the movement options that made Melee fast and uniquely technical were either removed completely or nerfed to unusability. For example, in Brawl you can't shield drop or light shield because the Wiimote didn't have a pressure sensitive analog trigger or analog triggers like the GameCube controller did. So in Brawl you can't shield drop. I farted. They kind of had to remove this out of necessity, and yes, I realize you could have always just plugged in a GameCube controller, but the idea was for the game to be accessible by as many people as possible. Also, that's one control scheme that it works on versus being literally inaccessible to the other three because digital triggers. This next one is simple: wave dashing. You can't wave dash in Brawl because they move directional air dodges, and you can only nair dodge in this game, neutral air dodge for those of you who don't know. You also can't dash dance for two reasons. Reason number one, all the characters in this game have really bad traction, and reason number two is random tripping. Jesus Christ, oh my god, Jesus Cristo, random tripping. It exists. What more do you need to know? Like, all right, this is a part of the video where I just start going apeshit. I understand making the engine slower and all that crazy stuff, but why in a big fat wet fuck did you add random tripping? This nigga Sakurai really said fuck every last one of you when he did that, huh? To be diplomatic and reasonable about it though, I understand why this was added. It was added to make the game slower in an effort to discourage the use of most advanced movement tactics like dash dancing, but still, why? All they really did in the end was encourage extremely defensive play with very little interaction, and this carried over in the next game in the series, Smash 4, but we'll talk about that later. But back to talking about how defensive play is encouraged. There are a large variety of reasons why this is a true statement in Brawl, including the ones I already went over. But to introduce some new ones, let me start with this: ledges. The way that ledges were changed from Brawl to Melee, ledge hogging broke tether recoveries. Everybody else had a ledge grab hitbox the size of Ultimate Ganondorf. And another thing that made Brawl bad competitively was the character design. A lot of the newcomers in Brawl were designed to play like they were bitch made. Let me provide you with a few examples. Snake has 110 projectiles and a lot of disjointed hitbox that don't make any sense. If ice climbers grab you once, you're dead. If any character who has a chain grab matchup grabs you, you're dead. If Diddy Kong throws a banana on you, then guess what? The game changed from Super Smash Bros. Brawl to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. What does that mean? That means if he doesn't do a fucking infinite on you, then Meta Knight. We're gonna ignore his kill power and I'm just gonna show you how good he is at stalling. But now that I'm done taking a dump on competitive Brawl, let me in brief mention a few of the many good things about Brawl competitively and what it introduced. Footstooling. This tactic nowadays is used as a tool to help extend combos and gimp recoveries. It even gives some characters their good combo games. Just watch any VOD of any good Ultimate Ice Climber player and count the footstools, or just look at Smash 4 Sheik Fox. If I took a shot for every time I've seen Larry Lur footstool somebody, I'd be a regular at my local weekly Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Recoveries. The way that they worked in Brawl was drastically different from Melee. To keep it short, in most cases, this was for the better. Majority of the recoveries in Brawl are pretty good, and the rest of the recoveries are just awful or are tether recoveries, which, due to the ledge changes, are pretty bad. Character diversity. Okay. Now hear me out. I feel like Brawl was the game to have the most unique and diverse Smash characters introduced within the base roster. I say this because if we're going by DLC, then Ultimate wins by a long shot, and Brawl has the least amount of clone characters, excluding 64, on the roster, and had introduced the lowest amount of clone characters in the series, that being only one in the form of Toon Link, whereas on the other hand, both Melee and Ultimate have 5 newcomers that are clone characters being added to their roster, while Smash 4 only had 2 characters being clones.